All right. Well, welcome everyone to today's mini camp workshop webinar. It's good to see each and every one of you, or at least virtually see each and every one of you. Now, I need you to do me a favor, and I apologize for being so panicky and freaked out, but technology scares me, man. It really scares me, and I'm always worried that these things aren't going to work. So on the screen, you should see my slides. You should also see my grizzled curmudgeon mug in the upper corner, and you should hear my voice. If that's not the combination that you have, do me a favor and type in no. Say something now so we can at least fix it and get you to enjoy the webinar. If that is the combination you have, do me a favor as well and type in yes. Let me know that it is working so I'll feel good about myself, that there actually is people here listening and I'm just not talking to dead space out there. So I do appreciate it. So again, I want to welcome everyone to today's mini camp workshop webinar. I'm going to spend a few minutes with you today talking about the upcoming training course I'm doing that's called mini camp. It starts on Monday. And this is by far and away the most popular training course that we have at thelincolnlist.com, and with just cause, because it is specifically engineered to help you become a long-term, consistently profitable trader. Whether you're somebody who's trading their own money like a 401k and you just want to do better with your investments, or you're really wanting to take this seriously, you want to go to another level, with your current trading, or you're somebody that really wants to become a professional trader, you want to live this lifestyle, this is what you want to make as a career, this is you, this is where you want to be. Minicamp is designed to help you achieve that goal. Now, one of the things that were in some of the advertisements I did to the lead up was how this is a live course. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later on as well. But to me, that makes all the difference. This is not a pre-recorded course that's drawing lines on charts and giving you a bunch of hypothetical examples or talking about simulated trading accounts, because that to me is absolute garbage. Nothing works unless it's tested in a real time environment. That's the only way you're going to learn and shorten your learning curve. Yes, books, DVDs, all that stuff is good. I get it, but it's not the same as live. This is a live course that teaches you exactly what it takes to be a professional trader. So if that's what you're here for, great. Stay here. If that's not what you're here for, don't waste your time. Really, don't waste your time. Well, you can stay. I enjoy the company. So I'm ready to go. I got my coffee. Yeah. And I got my whiskey. Coffee, whiskey. What should I start out with? I probably should just stay with the coffee, right? It'd be better. And then depending, if it goes good or bad, then I can switch to the whiskey. I'm prepared either way because I'm a trader and traders are always prepared. So one more thing as well. I don't know how you got to this point, probably through some social media outlet, how you found this webinar. But my handle on all social medias, YouTube, it's not listed there, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, it's all The Lincoln List. If you're active on social media, I encourage you to follow me. I'm constantly posting free educational content like whiteboard lessons. I do a weekly happy hour where I rant about experiences that I've had in the market. And I also do a weekly market review. So if you are active on social media, regardless of what happens from here on out, go ahead and give me a follow there and see if some of my educational content can help you. Now, again, I don't know exactly what kind of a trader you are. I'm sure I've got a basket of people, and I want to make sure that I cover each and every one of you and your needs to help you get to that next level. Now, you could be somebody that is coming into this right now and you have absolutely no experience whatsoever with trading. You just want to know if it's for you, and you want to know whether or not you have the right type of skill sets that it takes to be professional at this before you actually put your real money and start competing in the marketplace against algorithms and professional traders. Notice I have that in there as smart, because I consider that to be smart, because some of us like to learn the hard way. But hey, stubbornness, well, that's the way it is sometimes. But I do commend you for doing that. That is the right way. I've always been an advocate about how someone starts out their trading business, and to me that's really important, so I commend you for that. But I also know there's a handful of you who've probably done that too, but you kind of already trading a little bit or traded for a little while. You've done a lot of reading, you've done a lot of studying, you've looked at a lot of charts, you've made a lot of trades, but you just haven't really made enough progress. You just haven't been able to put consistency together, and it sucks. It sucks to feel like, okay, I'm in a rhythm, and all of a sudden, bam, something happens, and you're back to square one, or you take a big loss, and you're just kind of like running on a treadmill. It's like, I'm just going nowhere fast, and you're just kind of at this point where you're reaching out for help. You're taking this really hard look at yourself in the mirror, and you're like, man, I got to make changes. If I want to be great, I've got to make changes. So I understand that, because I've been in both of those scenarios. And maybe you're just people out there that's, covering you, all of you, saying, I'm just tired of being mediocre. I'm just sick of being mediocre. I need more out of life. This is what I want to do. This is where I want to go. This is who I want to be. And again, I've got to make the changes to do that. So no matter who you are, where you came from, how bad you might think you screwed up, what last dime you might be scraping together to stay alive, or whatever it may be, I just want you to know that it can be fixed. No matter how gloomy it may look or how disappointing it has been to this point, it can be fixed. Contrary to popular belief, trading is something that can be learned. Now, certainly some people are going to learn it faster. Some people are going to have a knack. There's naturals in every area of this world and in every industry. But, just being a successful trader, learning a great skill that you can take with you the rest of your life, something that you can have forever, and it never hurts to know how to handle your own money. You can fix whatever problems you have. The only thing you need is just sometimes to be pointed in the right direction. Focus on the most important things that matter when it comes to being successful, and channel your energy in that. And sometimes you just need to be in the right type of environment. So I do want you to know that no matter where you are, I understand. I've been there. I've been in those situations, and it can be fixed. So one thing I do want you to know as well is, and many of you probably already know this, I could just be preaching to the choir, but I want to make sure I say it, because success in this field doesn't go like this. As in any field, just like this, all over the place until you finally reach the top of the mountain. But one of the things that you need to think about here is, what would it be like if you can just focus for a moment and ask yourself this question, or think about, what would it be like if every day you woke up and you knew you possessed a skill that allowed you to tap into an unlimited income source? It was just like right there at your fingertips. And it was something that nobody could take away from you. It didn't matter where you went to school. It didn't matter what your GPA was in high school or college. It doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are, the color of your skin, like I said, your background, none of that mattered. That's what stock market trading is all about. To me, it is one of the most purest forms of business that you can get into, because it doesn't discriminate. It's not that type of a business. The market rewards the prepared. It doesn't reward the people that go to Yale or Harvard or the rocket scientist or the mathematician unless they're prepared. So all you really need to do, when I said it could be fixed and it could be changed, the mentality I want you to have here is, all you really need is some grit. I mean, if you have the will and the desire, and you're just simply not going to tolerate being mediocre, and you're just like, man, I'm gonna do this, and I'm determined. I don't care where you came from. That does not matter what you've done up to this point. Only thing that matters is the decisions you make from this moment on into the future. So I kind of want you guys to all know that here before I really get rambling, if I haven't already rambled enough. So one of the reasons I know this, I'm going to just give you a little short, very, very tiny background about me. Now, I know there's a lot of people, I see the names, you've been to a couple of these webinars. Some of you trade with me. Some of you are past minicamp students as well. And you've heard this. I don't want to bore people over and over again, but it is important to know a little bit about my background and why I understand this. Now, I started trading in 1999. And this was just at that sweet spot in the market where the .com era was there, and this was one of these times where trading became accessible to people. So I don't know how old you are, guys. Here, some could remember that are my age. I'm like 50 now. So trading wasn't something up to that point that could be done by just a regular person. The internet wasn't as prevalent. People didn't have computers and stuff like that. But once this surge came in and commissions went down, this really created this online trading revolution, or this evolution, whatever you want to call it. And I could see back then how this was going to fit into my life. I started trading in a bike store. I had this bike store. I hate showing this picture because I was actually kind of cute then. Well, I was young. I'm all crusty and old. Oh. But anyway, I had this bike store and it wasn't doing very good. And I was looking for some way to make a spare income. I was looking for anything I could do. I was working odd jobs. Long story short, I met some customers who were traders and they taught me a couple of things, and then I started trading. Now, I wasn't serious or interested back then in becoming a professional trader. I was just trying to support my road racing habit. It was my thing at the time, and I was doing a lot of traveling. So that's all my life was revolved around. And I thought, man, I could take this income with me. I could travel. I could race my bike. This is perfect. It fits my hours and all of that. But again, to make a long story short, it started out pretty good, but then most of you know, if you know any market history, the dot-com bubble exploded, stocks dumped. We were in a really poor market environment for several years. And it was this time not being prepared. If you remember, I said at the beginning, the market rewards the prepared. I wasn't. And that cost me the bike store. That cost me my racing at the time. I blew up 2 accounts, and it cost me many, many other things. Now, I was able to, with time, several years after that, start to build a rhythm, get rid of some of my demons. I went through a lot of counseling and stuff. When you lose a lot of money, it's tough on you. I've been there. I've been in the darkest parts of this trading world, and I've been on the other side, which I've experienced now, being a professional trader for 15 years, earning my money from the market. So again, when I said I know where you are, I've been on both sides of there. I know what it's like to be a winner, to be a loser, and a really bad loser, and never really want to hope the stock market closes forever. And then knowing what skills are required, what mindset is required out of you to turn that around from even the darkest, dirtiest, demonic places in your brain, how to turn that whole perception around and become successful. So I know exactly where you are right now because I've lived this, and now I'm going on my 20th year as a trader, and these are some of the things that I've learned, and I'm taking these lessons now and putting them into this mini camp course, or this is what I teach in the mini camp course on what is the most important parts of someone becoming successful at trading. Now, one of the most valuable lessons that I have learned, or when people ask me, or when I think back, what was the difference between blow up your account Doug in the early 2000s? Doug who threw temper tantrums when he lost money. Doug that bashed his head through a wall on several losses. What was the difference between that guy and calm, calculated, 6-figure earning professional trader Doug? And I noticed that the difference between a losing trader and a winning trader, and I hate to use the word losing, but I don't know what else to use right now. I'm not calling people losers, but it's razor thin. And if you think about it, life is like that in general. Like when you watch any kind of sporting event, even like let's say football or hockey or something, you watch a sport like that, and it's like the teams that win are only winning by a couple points. So you can have like a team that's like 1-12, but they're only losing games by like 3 points or 6 points, and it really comes down to like 1 or 2 plays during that game. Hockey's the same way. Other sports, basketball, if you watch it, pick your sport. It's razor thin. The difference between greatness and average is razor thin. And it's these little small things that you do, the little tiny changes. You don't have to make these drastic changes in your trading career. It's just these little tiny small things that you do that make all the difference. They turn into this powerful snowball downhill where the momentum in your favor is incredible. And that's what I've learned. You don't have to throw everything away. You just, like I said in the beginning, sometimes you just need to be in the right environment. You just need to have yourself picked from this angle and just moved over here. Just the slightest thing. So now what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to show you another way to just look at the market. And the only promise I want you to make to me, regardless of whatever you do from this webinar on. I just want you to give it a try. And I want you to look at yourself right now and just think about where you are and where your trading business is. And I want you to just look at the market a different way tomorrow. Just take this approach and see what it does for you. Just that's all I ask that you do. That's fair enough, right? You guys can do that, yeah? Yeah. Now, I know many of you who have followed me for a long time, you already heard this before. If you guys just even watched a lot of my YouTube videos, I am very redundant with this 3 simple step, 3 component thing. I mean, I just preach this over and over and over again because this was a very defining moment in my trading career. If you haven't heard it, great. If you have, I'm sorry to keep talking about it. I know there's a lot of people in the trade room and I say this every day, but it never hurts to hear it because it really is the foundation of everything. And that is that there are only 3 components that go into every trade. Don't care what the outcome is. Don't care about anything. It all boils down to 3 things. And you're going to have to get these 3 things correct or you're screwed. Bottom line, that's all there is to it. Now, certainly luck will play a factor in there sometimes, but this really is what it's all about. Don't care what strategy, don't care about what financial instrument, none of that matters. This is what it's all about. And that is these 3 things: idea, execution, and management. So when we talk about an idea, this is what a trader will refer to as a strategy or a process. Like what kind of setups are you trading? What kind of stocks are you trading? How do you find your stocks? How do you do that? Now, once you have formulated that, and a trader needs that, and I want you guys to understand it's very, very important that everybody has this because there is a million things that are going on in the marketplace every day. You've got all kinds of financial instruments. You've got cryptocurrencies, foreign currencies, options. You've got futures, stocks, big boards, penny stocks, all that kind of stuff. There's flag breakouts, flag breakdowns. There's reversal trading. I mean, the sky is the limit when it comes to trading strategies. You've got to pick something and go with it because you don't have the time and you can't devote your energy to all of those. That's why you never see the greatest foreign currency trader is not the greatest futures trader, is not the greatest stock trader. I've often said in many of my webinars, there's no Bo Jackson or Deion Sanders in the trading world. You have to be a specialist in one specific area because of the time. There's too many things going on. You have to focus your attention on a specific area, and I think most of you understand that. Now, once you develop an idea, the next part becomes when will you enter that idea. So if you're like really sold on buying, that sounds weird. If you're really wanting to buy something and you have that initial idea, the next step comes, well, when do I buy it? Where do I buy it? You know, for some of you, how do I buy it? You're going to have an execution. And then once you have made this entry and you've executed this, then a whole host of things can happen to you from this point. The market could tank, the market could rip, your stock could get halted. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and it's endless what might happen after this point. It's just like this whole new doorway has opened. So if you have traded, I want you to kind of think about this scenario. The reason I say you need all of these 3 things and why they're important and why it's worth repeating several times and for you to hear it is because you can often have a very good idea. Yes, we all agree? You can have a very good idea and then you do not execute that idea. You pass on it from fear or from not trusting your process for many different reasons. You know, maybe you went to the bathroom when it hit your price point. I don't know. Whatever reason it is, you might have screwed up the execution. Now, you also could have taken it, but poorly executed it because whatever defining price point you had for this investment, you chased it. You waited too long. You saw something like Bitcoin and said, yeah, I want to get me some of that Bitcoin at 3,000. Then you watched it go to 6 and you're like, boy, I should get some of that. Then you watch it go to 8. I really got to get some of that. What do you want? And then you finally pull the trigger at 16,000 and you realize you've chased it 10,000. You know, it was a great idea possibly, but you blew it with your execution. Now, the next part obviously is the management. And this to me is where a trader earns their paycheck because when you do this idea and execution, the world change. Everything at this point now becomes in the hands of the market. And the quicker that you're able to recognize when something is going well for you, when things have reached for your target, that's when you make money. So this is where you traders out there, if you kind of struggle, a trade has probably gone sour in that area. You've either, management could be something like you didn't hold it long enough and you didn't get the maximum amount of money out of it. You had this really great idea, really great execution, but you know what? You sold it too early and you left a ton of money on the table. Or you had a bunch of money that you were up, but you didn't take it and it came back and it turned red on you, and then it turned into this horrifying trade. So anywhere you are with your trading, and you're looking at before you make a trade, and any trade that has ever gone bad for you or good for you, every single question can be answered with this. Was it a good idea? Was it a good execution? And did I manage it well? And when we train people, this is what we want you to focus on every single trade, is idea, execution, management. Idea, execution, management. And if you don't ever talk to me again, I want you to take that and I want you to write it down and I want you to put it on your computer. It's that freaking important. You got to have this. It's not about Fibonacci cycles and moving averages and MACD crossovers and all that bullshit. Yes, that helps, but this is what it's about. So I want to go into a little bit more depth about it, because when we talk about idea, what I want you to focus on, and what Minicamp focuses on, is what actually constitutes a good idea. What the hell is a good idea? Now, one of the things that we use is something I call the cycle. Now, I've talked about this before as well. There's a cycle of money. Every day a certain stock is in play. Now, I don't want you to go out and run around and look for tons and tons of stocks, but if you're trading bigger beta names, FANG names, for example, Facebook, Amazon, Google, Netflix, Nvidia, Apple, whatever, you're going to find there's a money rotation, okay? There's a money rotation with these names. And I'm going to show you some charts here for just a second. So I'm going to click over and I'm going to talk, just show you exactly what it is I'm talking about, is this money cycle and how this puts you in the right position to be successful in the first place. Okay, just real quick. Everybody can see me, right? I just had to click off and go over to the charts. It might be, the screen might be, it should be all right. Just again, say something if it's not. So here's what I want to talk about real quick, is this money cycle. This is the classic thing, if any of you had any kind of investment study or one of the accumulation distribution. Not every stock is in play right now, or they can be in play, but the ones that have the best opportunities is every day there's usually somebody who's got the heat. Now, it could come from earnings. This could be something that comes from an upgrade or a news event. I don't, I really don't know where it comes from, and I don't care. It's not up to me to decide that. It's up to me to find that and then execute it. So we're going to talk about Netflix. And these are fresh charts this week. And what I want you to look at is there are two charts. I have a 5-minute chart and this daily chart. I'm just really just concerned for the moment right now for you to take a look at the daily chart. And I want to open it up just a little bit larger here for the last few days so everyone can get a good look at just the last few days of action. Now, what you noticed is that this stock here, this is the 20th of March. Okay, I really don't want you to pay attention too much, but just one thing I do want to say is it's obviously had a couple of really strong days, but that doesn't normally continue all 5 days of the week for the rest of the year. And the stock eventually starts to sell down via profit taking or whatever, we talk about that in Minicamp, but you'll notice that it has this dull period where it's just kind of selling off. It's just kind of off of the radar because there's something else in play. There's something else being accumulated that day. So yes, there's some action. Yes, there's some movement in here. But for the last few days, there wasn't much whatsoever in this name. Just a couple of back and forth choppy action. And for you, a trader, that puts you at somewhat of a disadvantage sometimes, is not having the perfect clean chart to trade from. But what I really want to highlight here is you'll notice this was Monday, this candle right here. And I want you to look at the size of this. This was one of the biggest moves this stock has had in the last couple of weeks. If you go back here, this is like a whole month of trading, right? A whole month in this little span here I'm showing you. And you'll look at how many you got. You got one here, you've got one over here, and then one here. So throughout the course of that month, or this actually goes to February, so you're practically talking about 2 months worth of trading. The biggest up days that you've had, there were 3 of them. There were 3 special days where this stock was just relentless in its accumulation. So what I want to ask you or propose to you this way is, noticing that it's under accumulation, would it be easier, or would the odds favor you of buying the stock on those days, right, when it's in this kind of a mode? Would it be easier to buy that and expect to get a gain out of it, or trust the gains that you're getting, or maximize your gains? Would it be easier than to try to screw with this thing back in here on these choppy days? I'm just asking. Now, of course, the million-dollar question is, how do you know it's being accumulated? Well, there's a lot of things that lead towards that. There's a lot of clues that you have. This is something that we discuss in our trade room every day. These are things that we talk about all the time, and this is something that's extensively discussed in minicamp. But the point here of this demonstration is to show you that every day in those FANG names, you pick one. Sometimes they all run together, but a lot of times there's going to be one that's hot. And when they get hot and you got the backing of the institution and the algos, these things just simply do not stop. And knowing that puts an incredible amount of power in your hands. So again, we're not talking about MACDs. We're not talking about RSI. We're not talking about Fibonacci cycles and crossovers and moving averages. We're talking about accumulation, big money going to work in the marketplace, and you want to get behind that. And the quicker you can figure that out, the better you are. Now, yesterday, it changed hands, and that was money moves to Facebook. So just take a look at this Facebook chart. For the last week or so, yes, there has been movement. Yes, there's trades. You can always dumpster dive and dig little pieces out of there and scalp some money here and there. But when you're looking at real big money, it's about that cycle. So yesterday, this is what happens. All of a sudden, this thing breaks through a range and off it goes. And look at the intraday action. Just buy, 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 buy. And the market had to close to get people to stop from buying that stock. Now, sometimes that'll move for days. Oftentimes, it's just one-off day. But the point of this, when we talk about idea, and what I wanted you to focus on with this, is what we teach is that cycle. How do you recognize that cycle? Not midday when the thing's up $6, but how do you find it when it's up 50 cents? How do you know when it's $1 in the pre-market? How do you pick which one of these has the accumulation? How do you recognize that quickly? Because this is what you want to get behind. Again, you don't need to draw lines here. You don't need the fibs, the moving averages. You just need to recognize that. So that's one of the things that we teach extensively about how to follow this money cycle and recognize it quickly. So I'm going to switch back to the slides real quick. Excuse me if I kind of go off grid for a moment. I didn't leave you. Okay. Woo! I'm back. Look at that. It worked. Wow. Yeah. Man, technology master. I'm going to move to Silicon Valley here before the day is over. I should have it. No, I'll wait. Okay. Now, the next thing we talk about here is that execution where I mentioned this is your entry price. And it's where did you buy this? Where did you get, what is the right place on that chart that you should be doing business? Like, where is that price? And I put down at the bottom, it's all about price. Price is the only important thing. Price pays. Price is the winner of every argument in this. It's all about the price. It's not what you think something should be worth. It's not what it is currently worth. It's whatever people are willing to pay for it. That is the price. The other thing I want you to know about price is I'm sure many of you have found yourself in a situation where you've got this really great trade. You started making all this money and you're like, son of a gun, when do I get rid of it? When do I get rid of this trade? When do I sell? When do I stop? You don't know. What tells you that is the price. Because what you need to be thinking about, again, we go over this extensively, and this is what's important to me about trading. Stocks normally do not trade from one level to the next level for the hell of it. There's a reason. They trade from one level to the next level. They go from one resistance, from support level to the next resistance level. They go from resistance levels back down to support levels. If you take a really good look at that Facebook chart, a lot of that information is there. It broke a certain level. It traded from one level, went right to the next level, and it stopped almost to the penny at the resistance level. It's not magic. It's not a secret. It's technical analysis. It's right there in front of your eyes. This is what I told you at the beginning. It rewards the prepared. If you have the ability to see this and you want to see this and you remove the blinders of chasing the micro caps and all that, trying to get ahead of the curve, just look what's in front of you. The answer is right there in front of you. And those charts tell you that. So it's all about price. And then the management part, like I had mentioned, being so important, what we want to focus on when you're being trained by us is this trade working as planned? And they should work out for you a certain way. Now, what I mean by that is if you've done any trading whatsoever, you should know statistically how long it takes when you see something and you have your idea, you execute your idea. Once you've executed that, there's a certain time frame where a normal payout or a normal result should occur from that trade. It should. Now, when you start messing around that time and it's not working, sometimes that leads you into the spot where, hey, there's a reason that it's not working, you know. And what will tell you that story, what we teach, is the action. How do you read this action? How do you take the signals that are coming from the stock? How do you take the signals that are coming from the chart? How do you take the signals that are coming from the price? How are you translating in that to make that next decision? Is that giving you the clue that you need to cut your position? Or is that telling you you should hold? You should hold because you have found this golden holy grail trade and you don't want to let it go because this is going to be a once in a generation trade, a once in a year trade. Those are the things that we teach. So when you're looking back at this, and like I said, I don't care where you go from here in this case. It's all about idea, execution, and management. I repeat it for a reason. You know, you can have a great idea, but you can screw it up with bad execution. You know, you can have great idea and great execution and just be ignorant on management and just blow trades by not doing the right thing. So when we talk about being the complete trader, and the key to being consistent, because consistency is what is going to make you money over the long term, that consistency comes from these three things. So every answer, you think any trade that you've had that sucked, said, man, I lost my rear end on that trade. That trade left a mark. It stings. They're just saying the name makes you want to puke, right? It's right here. You did one of these wrong somewhere. Most likely it was the last one because that's what it's all about. Right there would be my visual pie chart. Idea, execution, and management. That's how each one of them lays into the importance of a trader. The idea accounts for just a very small portion. Now, one of the things I do want to say for those that have been trading, I think you understand that, is that it's real easy to come up with a trading idea. Piece of cake. In fact, the reason why I sometimes have slammed these trend lines and candlesticks, I use them myself, but, you know, I can teach you how to read a chart in about 5 hours. I mean, it's just red and green, right? It's up and down stuff. It's not that hard to read a chart. It's not that hard to formulate where a price is important. It really comes down to the two pieces that are the most important, which is executing and not being a chicken or not having that personal belief or the ability to just be decisive about it. And then the rest comes once you're in it is handling it the correct way. Is taking a beautiful idea and letting it manifest into this amazing, wonderful trade. It's catching a mistake quickly so you can cut that damage out fast before it turns into some nightmare that you cannot recover from. That's where you will make or break yourself in this business. That's where you're going to earn your way in this business. So when you ask me which is the most important, that's it. Take a picture of that. That's how it is to me. And I believe that if you are a great trade manager, which is a big focus in minicamp, that if you're a really good trade manager, you can guess. You could throw darts. I don't want to advise that, but you can just guess, and you're going to be okay. Like I've said in 100 of these, I'm confident enough in my abilities now. I've been around for a long, long time. I'm not saying this is a bragging thing. It just comes with thousands upon thousands of trades and hours in front of a computer. But you can put me in any trade, any price, any trade, anywhere, and I'll figure out how to get out of it with the least amount of damage possible. In fact, the room, you guys know, you call me Houdini. It's a knack that's developed over screen time. It's not a special talent I was born with. It's just something, like I said, was learned through repetition and doing this and doing it the right way. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that's my pie chart. I like the pie charts. Okay, so another thing that I want to talk about here is also very important. You know, when you're talking about how do I manage well, how do I execute well, how do I do all of this, it really comes down to that foundation and mindset. I don't think I can stress this enough to you people. And I know if you've traded, you're going to agree with this. To me, when I first started out and it was struggling, I was really in this holy grail mindset. I thought that professional traders had a secret that they just didn't want to share with us, regular old people. Or there was something that I was missing, and I was missing something, obviously, but it wasn't about charts necessarily. And I put this little thing here because this stat's gone around 100,000 times in the trading world from different trading psychologists and other professionals, that 80% of trading is mental, 20% is mechanics. And, you know, that's what the thing I want to say is, if trading is 80% mental and 20% strategy, why are we or you wasting your time looking for holy grails and expensive scanners and shortcuts and all that when 80% of it's going to come from right here? Shouldn't that be where your focus is? Now, if you guys watched the last happy hour I did, I want to kind of give you another analogy to look at this and how a trader works. And you've heard this before. I know if you follow me, I apologize for keep repeating myself. I'm a broken record sometimes, but I think these are great analogies and great ways to translate the information that I have. And I've often referred to as a trader like a pro quarterback, right? Pro athlete. Just put it whoever you want in there. And the reason I say a quarterback is because everybody who has made it to the National Football League at that level, they all possess a good enough skill, a physical skill. They're all physically strong enough. They all have a strong enough arm to throw the ball far enough to get the job done. They're all extremely accurate when it comes to practicing. I mean, these are all superior, highly trained athletes that were starters in college. I mean, these are top tier, best in the world athletes. We know that, okay? That's how they got there. But when you start throwing in these other variables, okay, like reading defenses, understanding plays, changing plays at the line of scrimmage, dealing with crowd noise, dealing with the elements, having these huge linemen and other monstrous freaks of nature, physical athletes coming in to tear your head off, and you've got to make a split-second decision. You snap the ball, you look 2-3 times, and you fire it away, and it's got to be pinpoint accurate under pressure. Well, that changes everything, right? Because the difference between the legends and the bench runners is that they don't have stronger arms necessarily. They can run 20 miles fast. They're not the fastest, strongest. They're the smartest. Or not just, maybe not saying the smartest, but they're able to process that information quickly and react to it. That's a trader. Because we all can read a chart. We can do that over the weekend. We all can understand the market in 30 days if we sit there. What minicamp does is it trains you to be able to execute under that pressure. That's why I cannot stand simulated trading. It's okay if you want to do it a day or two to help learn a platform, but that is taking away the key element of emotion. You have got to be able to perform under pressure. You got to. And if you can't, you're not going to make it. And if you can't, you need to figure out, like I say, you need to figure it out or you will be out. So that has to be your priority. Taking what it is that you know, taking it as what you know you're capable of doing, and then executing that, man, just with the snap of a finger, because sometimes us as traders, we don't have time to screw around. We don't have time to think about it. Something pops up. We have to trust that process. We have to trust our decision making, and we have to believe 100% in what it is that we're doing. If you have any short change on that, you're done. You are done. So I don't care what people are selling you out there. I don't care if they're telling you that my strategy is the greatest. Maybe it is. I'll give you that. Maybe it is. But what are you going to do with it? If you don't know how to execute, it's just a waste. It's like a rifle in the hands of a monkey. You know, the rifle itself is powerful, but the monkey doesn't know how to use it. No disrespect to monkeys. If you guys are out there, I'm not calling monkeys out. I'm just saying, you know, as I said, anything dangerous in the hands of a fool, but they don't know how to use it. It's worthless. It's just a piece of metal, right? It's like a car. It's valuable to you because you know how to use it. It's not valuable to a monkey. You can't drive it. Or a dog. Dog doesn't know how to use a car. I think maybe. Should I? Okay. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. You have to be that. And Minicamp's focus is to get you to that psychological level. Why I think it's so important, because it will make or break you in this business, and you'll have to live and die by those decisions. So as I talk about Minicamp, here's the things I want to just discuss what this actually covers and a little more in detail why something like this is valuable to you. It's 8 live classes, which is about 12 hours of training, where I go over 4 of my main stock trading strategies and 4 of my option trading strategies. Now, this is something I've just added new, which is options. I'm going to be talking about calls and puts and naked calls and naked puts. It's something that we do often in the trade room, and by your request, I've decided to add it to the Minicamp. So it's now a part of this, and it gives you that basis. But one thing I want you to do is understand that these are live training, and I'm going over the strategies that I've used for 20 years now. You also get a copy of my Trading as an Art DVD. Now, I have 2 DVDs. One is free. It's called Rock Solid. Some of you may already have that. But there's also another one that's a little bit more extensive. It shows real live trades, what these trades actually look like. So as a bonus to all the people who enroll in Minicamp, I'll give you a free copy of this. It's normally $100, but it goes into a really thorough detail about why would something like this even work? What is it that you're actually looking for? And I would recommend that everybody watch that before taking the Minicamp, so you just get a little jump on the knowledge. You just get an understanding of what kind of a trader I am, how I kind of view the market. That way when you're coming into Minicamp, a little bit of that stuff will make more sense to you, and you'll be able to execute better. Now, speaking of execution, this to me is what I feel is the most important thing that stands above the other courses, is that you have free access to the live trade room from now until May 6th or something like that. Normally it'd be $200, but it's free for all Minicampers. Now, the reason I have this is because when I say it's live training, that's exactly what I mean. I trade every day live on screen in a format very similar to what you're seeing, but instead of seeing my grizzled mug, because I'm usually in sweatpants and I haven't showered or shaved, you see my trades on screen, and I'm communicating with you in a verbal way like I am right now. So the point of this, if you haven't figured it out, is I'm not just going to show you, hey, this is my strategy, have you draw some lines and feed you to the wolves. I want you to take the information that you're learning, that we discuss, that we work together on, the strategies that we work together on, the things that we talk about that you're looking for in the market. And I want you to see how I use that in a real-time environment. So I'm not just saying these strategies work because I'm saying they work because they're mine. I'm going to show you how they work. I'm going to trade this stuff right in front of you. So when you learn something, you're going to see it. Now, you're more than welcome to trade it yourself if you want, but the purpose is I'm not just showing, I'm doing. And I think that's really where that learning curve for you shortens, because you're going to see that put to action. You're going to know that the stuff that I'm talking about is not BS. It's real. You saw it right in front of your face, and you'll get this huge smile when you realize it all starts to click. It starts clicking for you, like, oh, I saw that. And then you'll start to see what I see, and that's the whole purpose, is to get you to that certain level. Now, one of the things I understand is this is a great big world, and everybody's got different things they got going on, you know, and so on. All of these sessions are recorded. I do record all of these, and they all are archived. So I've recorded every single mini camp I've done for the last 3 to 4 years, or however long I've been doing these. And you can watch these. So if you can't attend the live class, I really wish you would. I do hope you, but if you cannot, I don't want that to be just like a deal breaker for you where you're like, oh, I can't do it. It still will work for you. I'd prefer for you to be there, but they are recorded and you can watch them whenever you want. This also helps as well to be refreshed if you like want to go back and do a review. Maybe months go by and you want to go back and look at the mini camps. They never expire. You can always go back and watch them over and over again until you can't stand to watch them anymore. And most of you already know this. We have a saying amongst the mini campers: once a mini camper, always a mini camper. I know this is something that virtually nobody does this, is that you can come back and take these mini camps. Now, I have people from season 1 mini camp still coming by. So anytime you want to come back and take the class again, you want to take the course every time, you just want to be there and hear my voice and just entertain me too, you can. And you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to pay any setup fee or retake fee. It's free forever. Free forever. So you're always welcome to come back. You can watch the recordings over and over again. You can, take these classes over. You'll probably get sick of me after 2 of them. My voice can be a little bit annoying. But anyway, the point to take away from this is that it's a complete course. It's a complete course that gives you that live training to where you see the strategies, you see how they play out in real time. You get a really great understanding of me as a trader, the people I've aligned myself with in my trading community, why we're so successful, how I've been able to remain successful for several years. And it's a lifelong commitment between me and you. Like, I'm kind of basically reaching out right here and shaking your hand. Let me put this. Shaking your hand and saying, we're in this together. You can come back. You can do this over and over again. And we're going to do this. So anyway, I said it starts Monday. Mini camp starts Monday at April. I think we're going to do it it's like 4 or 5 in the evening. Yeah, something like that. 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening on Eastern time. Now, you can save right now. I know I did the special over the week. I'm going to extend it just for tonight into tomorrow morning for the people that showed up at this webinar. I'll still honor the 25% early enrollment discount. Right here, I've put the link on there. You can learn a lot more about it as well. I've put some other details on the webpage as well as a YouTube video about minicamp right there, thelincolnlist.com/minicamp. Right there is the link. If I can, I'll post it up here in the room. That way you can just click on it. I think there's some way I can figure that out. But it is $400. Again, it'll go up $100 on say April 4th. Yeah, April 4th. I don't want to be. Let me not worry about that right now. Let me just say this. It's 25% discount. I'll honor that for anybody that signs up tonight or halfway through the day tomorrow. The most important thing is if you're truly committed to it, just get in the camp. Just take the camp and see if it's for you. So I'm going to wrap it up here, but before I do, I just want you to ask yourself that one last question. You know what it is that I have to offer here. You know where you currently stand as a trader. And I know sometimes that change itself is a difficult thing to deal with. But the only way that you're going to get to where you want to is you got to align yourself with the right kind of people. You got to put yourself in the best possible environment that will help you thrive, that will get the most out of you. And I think when you look back at what's offered in minicamp and the way that is laid out, that should be your answer. Live classes, live trading, see it in real time. You're part of a community, a tight-knit community that works together, where there's not egos, where everybody is trying to help everybody else make money, share ideas, help each other when things go wrong, cheer for each other when things go right. I mean, we're all in this thing together. And like I said in the very beginning, I'm fully aware of what it's like to feel every single emotion when it comes to trading: good, bad, disappointment, frustration, anxiety, sadness, just everything. butterflies in the stomach, complete euphoria, complete disappointment. I know what it's like to go through all of that, and I've been through all of that. So because of that, I know what it takes to get you to where you need to be, and I know what you're going through, and you're in that type of community where you understand. So anyway, guys, I want to thank you for joining the webinar. I do hope each and every one of you attend the mini camp. What I'm going to do is click you've probably seen enough of my face. I'm going to click myself off the screen right now, but I am going to stick around, that if you have any questions, you want to talk shop stocks, you want to talk a little bit more about mini camp, I'll take it back down to a much more laid back session here, and I'll answer your questions. But real quickly, I'm just going to exit off the slides and get back on the regular screen, and then I'll stick around for a little while and answer your questions. So again, thanks for attending.